We're gonna talk to some people, gonna have a lot of fun. We're gonna talk to some people, gonna learn a lot of stuff. We're gonna talk to some people, gonna have a lot of fun. We're gonna talk to some people, gonna learn a lot of stuff. Cause Kristin knows blank. Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Kristin Knows Blank podcast. Wow, whatever kind of day you're having, I hope it gets better for the amount of time that you're listening to this podcast. I'm Kristin Key. I'm the host of this crazy mess. And I just got back off tour from, oh boy, I had so much fun. Portland, Seattle, Vancouver, Eugene, Oregon. What a great time. Thank you so much to all the people from the Lesbian Army that came to Camp Kristin to see me on tour. I just wanted to give an update. We've actually, because of people coming to my shows, we've been able to donate to several nonprofits this year. And I just wanted to kind of give a shout out to who we've raised money for just on the Camp Kristin tour alone. We're focusing on LGBTQ plus youth this year because, you know, the world's a strange place. And I feel like the little queer nuggets could use a little bit of help in their community. So this year we've donated so far to the Trevor Project, the Attic Youth Center in Philadelphia, the Transformative Justice Law Project of Illinois, 1 in 10 in Phoenix, Smile Big Texas in Amarillo, Texas, which is a great organization, Black Queer Tulsa, Transponder in Eugene, Oregon, the Q Center of Portland, Oregon, GSBA and their scholarship fund in Washington State, and Community in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. Thank you so much to everybody that's bought a ticket to my show and has bought merch, because a portion of the proceeds from all ticket sales and merch sales go to one of these local organizations when I play a city near you. A portion of the proceeds, I do, of course, keep most of my money. Anyway, thank you so much for seeing me on tour. I cannot wait to get back out there. We've got more places to visit, more jokes to tell, of course, and more silliness to get up to. Today, though, I'm so excited about my guest. I cannot believe that we have her on. This is the very first time I've been able to say this out loud. Today, we have Michigan Senator Mallory McMorrow joining the Kristin Knows Blank podcast. I'm lucky to have her because I just happened to know her fresh out of college. She lived with Molly, my wife, for a few months. And so I got to know her then, and she was fun then and had no plans of being a politician back then, just a fresh face. I mean, wonderful kid right out of college, right out of Notre Dame. And well, now she's not just serving in the Michigan Senate, she's making all kinds of noise, and she is creating good trouble. And she's one of those women from Michigan. She's getting stuff done, and she's just written a wonderful book. It's called Hate Won't Win. I read it. It's fantastic. It's the first political book that I've ever read that's an actual page turner. She wrote it herself. This was not ghostwritten for her. She wrote it herself, and it is her origin story of how she got into politics. What I thought was interesting about Mallory's story is that she didn't come from a political family and had no political ties. She just got frustrated with America as she saw it and Googled how to run for office. Anyway, that inspired the hell out of me. It's a great book. It addresses, you know, what she's done in office, how she sees America, but also, I don't want to give any spoilers, but it gives a lot of great suggestions to what you do when you're feeling helpless. So I'm so excited to have her on. Without any further ado, hey, computer lady, will you play that interview with Senator Mallory McMorrow?
Playing interview with Mallory McMorrow.
Hi, Mallory.
Hi, Kristin.
Oh my God. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
Oh my gosh. I was just thinking the other day when I first met you, I think it was it 08?
Yes. No, 2007.
7. Oh, you had an internship for Mazda, I believe.
I did. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So when I first met you, I would have never dreamed that I would be talking to Senator Mallory McMorrow. How did this happen? You weren't born into politics. You're not a Kennedy. What happened?
No. Well, I don't know if you know, 2016 was a year, and
What?
a few things happened. And
just real quick, I got sober right before the 2016 election. And do you know how many times I had to say, boy, did I pick the wrong year to quit drinking?
No. Oh, that's rough. Very sobering experience.
It is. Okay. So yeah. So it's 2016 was a
So
Wow, what a year.
2016 happens. We had been living back in Michigan for a couple of years, my now husband and I. And there was a video that went viral just after the 2016 election of middle school students chanting, "Build that wall" at another student, a Latina student. And there's a short little video clip of it, and it's terrifying. It's all kids, and they're just banging on the lunch tables and taunting this girl. And that was from Royal Oak Middle School, which was my polling place in the 2016 election. So something about that it was kids, that kids had learned this was okay, that it happened in my backyard. I Googled how to run for office, as one does. And that's
As
it.
you
That's all
do.
you have to
Yeah.
do. Here.
It's such a Mallory thing to do. Yeah, something needs to be done. What should I do?
What should I
I'll
do?
run for office. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
No idea what I was getting into.
I was going to say, if I Googled run for office, I'd be like, what are all the offices? What's an easy one? What's, yeah. And I don't know. I mean, you've taken to it so well, but at quite a cost, because you didn't come in and immediately, I don't think you were welcomed with open arms, especially by your colleagues across the aisle.
That's right. Yeah. So I ran for office in 2018. So I found an organization called Emerge America, which recruits and trains Democratic women to run for office. So I had spent 6 months, once a month, every weekend with a binder, learning how to put a campaign plan together and how to write a stump speech. And we would do drills on how to ask people for money. Everybody you've ever met, you ask for $50, which is an incredibly vulnerable experience. But I got in, we won. Nobody thought we could win. When I first told people that I wanted to run for office, a local Democratic Party official said, "That's cute.
Oh.
You're gonna get destroyed, but don't worry, you'll build your name recognition, and you can run for city commission next time." So there wasn't a whole lot of support from the party, but there was something really nice about that because we got to run the campaign we wanted to run. We had more than 500 volunteers come out, which is incredible, over a year and a half. Retired teachers and high school kids, who couldn't vote yet but knew that they wanted to make their voice heard. And we flipped a Republican district that nobody thought we could ever flip. I represented Mitt Romney's hometown, so I'm sure he's gonna love that. But
so proud of you.
I'm sure he's
good job. You flipped a seat.
We did it. So you get in it, 2018 was a big year. It was the year of the woman, and there were all these stories written about women are coming into power, and that's so great. And I got in, and very naively, I think, I'm in this position of power now, and we're finally going to be able to get things done. And that's not what happened at all. We had armed protests in our state capitol with heavily armed gunmen in the Senate gallery above my head. I was sexually harassed by a colleague during sexual harassment training.
By the way, your book that you have, I downloaded it. I read it. It's phenomenal. It's the only political book I've ever read that was a page turner. I mean, the way it's written is incredibly, it's gripping, but I cried twice. And because I'm on the road, they were both in public. So thanks for that. One in an airport. And yesterday, I reread a chapter. I cried in a Potbelly sandwich shop.
Oh my!
So I just want you to know.
Just so moved by the sandwich.
This jerky is delicious. Mallory, who? The first part, the part where the chapter that you talk about the sexual harassment, and you actually really delve into what the Me Too movement was at the time, and like your stories with it. First off, I want to say thank you for sharing, because it means a lot to all women. But also that's the part that it gutted me, because I think we've all been that woman in a situation where you're like, I'm just trying to show up and do my job.
Totally. And we're all taught to kind of just suck it up. And if you raise your voice, it traditionally doesn't go well for women. But there was a young reporter in her first job out of college who this same senator effectively made a gang rape joke about her in front of a group of high school students. And then he started dragging her through the mud and, saying that it was a hit job and it was politically motivated. And I decided to speak up because I had my own experience with the same senator that could back her up. And it was one that I hadn't shared because new senator orientation day was day one. I'd worked for a year and a half to get into this job, and then to be sexually harassed on the first day. I didn't want to be
at a sexually harassment seminar. That's
yes.
the ironic part. It's like, did he really think like, you can't get popped during the seminar? I haven't signed the paper
that's
yet.
the circle of trust. I don't know. Like, this is the safe space to do it. I have no idea. Life is just an episode of Veep, truly. And you have to laugh. But Allison, the reporter, she got the book and she's been reading it. And I saw a tweet from her yesterday just saying how much that meant and how hard rereading that chapter was for her. But that it meant a lot, that somebody else was standing up for her. And she told me, she's like, you didn't know me and you didn't have to do this. But I did, because she was having her career destroyed. Everybody remembers their first job and how scared you are. And that was just, that set the tone for the rest of my first term, where I was ostracized and demonized, and I introduced 49 bills on every single issue I ran on, and I didn't get a single hearing. And yeah, it's a crash course in the power you think you have is not the power you have. And that was rough.
Can I ask you, how did you keep showing up day after day when, to say things aren't going your way, but just you're also being fought against, so not just like you just can't get something done, but also you're actively being pushed back against. How did you keep going?
It was hard, but I also, we worked so hard to get here. I had raised, $400,000, not because I know a whole lot of people with a lot of money, but because everybody.
I remember your phone call. You called me, and luckily for you, you were wonderful and you're such a fun person that I was so excited that you called me, even though it was a campaign donation. I was just like, it's Mallory. You're not really upset about, she's asking for money for a campaign. It's Mallory.
But, there's a sense of, it's going to sound trite, but in these roles, like, there is a sense of obligation. And my mentor, Curtis Hertel, who was a state senator, he's now actually the newly elected chair of the Michigan Democratic Party, which is great because he's wonderful. He said to me, he's like, just remember, in these roles, this is an important job. You are not an important person. And that always just stayed with me, that, like, even if it's not going my way, people elected me to be their senator. So I have to show up. I have to keep trying. I have to at least get a question in committee that starts to draw out the concerns of my district. And, beyond just legislation, we did a lot in constituent services. We've helped people stay in their homes and stave off eviction. We've helped people get roofs on their houses. We've helped people get Medicaid when they've been cut off. So there were moments where we realized we were making a difference for people, and that mattered because, when you call over to the Department of Health and Human Services and you're a senator, they tend to listen versus a constituent who's been calling over and over and over and nobody will call them back. So we had power. It just wasn't, legislative priorities and the things that I ran on.
I'm so glad you did keep showing up, because you being there, realize that you are the voice of your constituents. And I think in reading your book, seeing how much power reaching out to your state legislation has, when I think as a voter, I naively am just like, well, I guess I'll just write a letter to my congressperson, and realizing that my local and state representatives actually take these phone calls and letters and in-person meetings.
Yeah. And it's
eye-opening.
It's something I hope people read the book and realize is we get so caught up in what's happening in Washington because that's what's on TV and that's what's in the news and that's what's, covered in the New York Times and the Washington Post and on all of our social media feeds. State legislatures are not particularly sexy. Something like 80% of Americans have no idea who their state legislator is.
I know who Michigan's is.
Like, I know Metro Detroit state senator. Really helpful in Southern California.
I'm working on it. But listen, not to judge, Mallory.
We're here to learn. We're all learning
That's
together. But I'm responsible for an $80 billion budget for 10 million residents of our state. I'm responsible for 80 plus percent of funding for all of our public schools and the state Medicare fund and Medicaid, and whether or not your infrastructure works, whether or not we have clean water, something that's important in Michigan, if we have pipes that actually are not poisoning you. All of these things are impacted by your state legislator. And what I tell people all the time is we are all regular people. I can say truly on both sides of the aisle, with few exception, most of the people I work with got into this job because they care and they want to make a difference. We all bring our own lived experience into these jobs, but we don't know what we don't know. And you do. You have your own lived experience. You have your own issues. And if you don't call and tell us about it, we don't know. So we can be better advocates for you as constituents if you take the time to send us an email or call us. I share the story all the time of a woman named Jane, who is a constituent of mine. She is a domestic abuse survivor, and she has built up a relationship with me. I've been in office for 6 years. We now have an address confidentiality law in the state of Michigan for survivors of domestic abuse because Jane shared her story and came to the Capitol and said, this is what happened to me, and this is what my abuser did because he could find me because of public records. And that law wouldn't exist if she hadn't reached out, because I don't have that lived experience in the way that she does. And now there are people who are going through, horrible, horrible relationships who are going to be better off because of her.
Yeah. The amount of work you do for women in your state and for women all over, do you feel that you have a louder voice because you had to overcome the attacks? I'm going to go back to your speech, the speech in 2022 that really changed the path of your career. I want to say, do you wish it hadn't happened, that the things it did, or are you glad that it did so that you could have a voice, a louder voice?
Oh man, that's a great question. I don't think anybody wants to be accused of, let's call grooming what it is, befriending children for the purpose of molesting them.
I remember this online when it happened. I remember
Yeah.
this and knowing you and just, I mean, literally, what?
Right.
But I also understand what was happening in the world at the time, and that people were throwing that out often.
Yeah.
People just call people groomers and pedophiles if they didn't agree with them. And
Yeah.
so to see you the target of that during was it for campaign donations on their side?
Yeah, it was an email. It was an email that one of my colleagues, and some people said, "Oh, your opponent did this." Not even my opponent. Somebody who lives in a completely different part of the state, who just picked me out as the person to target and smear me as a pedophile. And clearly nobody ever wants that to happen. My daughter was 1 at the time, and I just remember the night that happened, coming home, and she's 1, she's oblivious to what's going on, and she was laughing and I was crying. And just, friends of mine who moved to Michigan from DC, they heard the grooming smear, and it reminded them of Comet Ping Pong and what happened there, where somebody who was radicalized by QAnon heard the theory that there were people in a pizza parlor who had kidnapped children to groom them. And my friends were worried that people would believe this about me and come to my house and want to shoot me.
Right.
And that was just, I'm looking at my daughter and I'm like, I can't, I don't know how to reconcile what I'm doing here. I was also in a place where I wasn't sure that I was going to run for reelection because of all of the obstacles that I had faced. So
Right.
I spent a lot of time writing and rewriting what I wanted to say, because I think I recognized, especially after hearing from kids in my district who saw all of these attacks on the LGBTQ community in particular, and didn't have a voice and didn't know how to push back, and realized I had to say something. So I ended up talking about myself and my mom and how I grew up in the church and how I'm a straight white Christian married suburban mom who knows that hate can only win if people like me let it happen. And to point out that people who are different are not the reason why housing costs are too high and why your healthcare costs are too high and why teachers are leaving the profession and why the roads are in disrepair, that all of this is noise and a distraction and scapegoating. And I genuinely thought, okay, this is the last speech I'm ever going to give. And if I'm going down, it might as well go down swinging. And that was it. I was done. And almost immediately, I put the clip up on Twitter, and within 24 hours, it was viewed more than 10 million times. And I was on every cable TV show, and Fox News called me liberal Karen with a headband, which is great. I wanted T-shirts.
Like 2 days ago, they're calling me a groomer. Pick one. Come on.
Right.
Who am I?
So I don't know, I don't know that I would say that I would want it to happen, but the response that I got for weeks, I mean, we are now 3 years later, and people still tell me they listen to the speech and they watch the speech and how much it means to them.
I cried in a potbelly yesterday, rewatching a speech I've seen at least 10 times.
It changed my life.
But it means so much to the community to hear you say what we feel, but sometimes we don't have a voice. As a lesbian woman, I don't have the exact same voice to speak to other people that may be, I don't know, middle of the road America, but a straight, white, suburban Christian mom is someone that people can listen to. And it's what we're all saying, like, we didn't do anything. We're just trying to be.
People just want to be left alone.
Yeah. Yeah.
Period.
That thing I hear from Republicans a lot. I just want to be left alone. I want to be able to do whatever I want.
Same.
Okay. Yeah. Let's do that. Let's just do that for all of us.
Yeah. Agreed. So yeah, I mean, it dragged me back in a way that I never would have expected. I'm glad that people responded the way they did. And I'm glad that I found my footing. Yeah. And now we're here.
You said a great thing in the book, views are not clicks and clicks don't make change. And so you took that moment, and instead of going, okay, now I'm a viral senator, I've got a great video, I had a wonderful speech, yay me. Instead of that, you turned that into a whole new platform and a way to, you created a PAC out of it to change the way Michigan government is.
Yeah, so the Michigan Senate, where I serve, had been under Republican control since 1984. So long time, really long time. And we had an opportunity ahead of us. We finally had fair redistricting. So we had fair maps for the first time ever, thanks to a citizens' ballot initiative to make that happen. So they weren't gerrymandered, which is amazing. But that also wasn't a guarantee because Michigan's not a blue state. Michigan's a purple state. Yeah. So I knew that there was an opportunity to change who's in power, not just because I'm a Democrat and they're Republicans, but because I knew that on so many issues that my constituents really care about, nothing was happening. And we had to change power to make the change that we wanted. So I opened a PAC. I built up a small team, and we built out, a year-long media plan to kind of capture this spotlight and use every opportunity to talk about the importance of state legislatures and to talk about Michigan and what was happening on the ground. And my colleague who sent out that email raised $235 off of that email, and I raised more than $2.5 million for state Senate candidate. So hate won't win. That's what I'm saying.
Hate won't win.
Hate won't win. And we did it. And we flipped control of the state Senate. And I think that people are so tired of politics and politicians who get into this job to go viral. Like it was very weird to go viral and then have people reach out like, how do you go viral? I'm like, you don't try to do that. You see people just picking fights with their colleagues and trying to have like explosive moments in committee so they can put it out. And I think people are sick of that. But if it does happen in a very natural way, this was just a thing that happened to me in a speech that I gave. Going viral doesn't solve anything. I would have just been, a blip on a radar and a viral sensation for 15 minutes, but we used it to build power to make people's lives better. And that's what it's for.
Yeah, it's the difference between talking to hear yourself talking and actually using your voice because you have something to say.
Right.
And in that moment, you actually had something to say, which I think, when communities are marginalized or oppressed or, attacked, it's usually when we come out and say, okay, well, we're just going to have to get stronger because I can't stop being, a woman. I can't stop being a gay person. I can't stop being exactly who I am. So I'm probably just going to be more of who I am. And that's what you are. You showed your true colors that day, because that's who you are.
Yeah. Well, and I was sick of people speaking for me who don't actually represent me. Like this was the same time that Moms for Liberty groups around the country were coming into prominence and going to all these school board meetings and claiming we're doing this for parents' rights. And, we want to ban all the books because it's parents' rights. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm a parent too. Fuck you.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I'm not a mom for liberty. No,
Nope.
that's not me.
Mm-mm.
So on your social media, I do love how engaging you are with people that have legitimate government questions. And I've noticed that a lot of them are, what do we do? Are we going to be okay? Is the sky falling? Should I pack a bag? How easy is it to get into Canada? So I can't ask all those questions, but I will ask for my community. I know there's a lot of scared people that are concerned that there is no hope. So my question is, what do you tell LGBTQ people that feel like the government has abandoned them? What can they do? And or are they going to be okay?
So something I try to do on my social media is never, I'm never just going to placate people and say, oh, everything's fine, because I would be lying.
It'll make me feel better. Sometimes I have my wife just do that. Will you just tell me everything's she's the same way. She goes, I can't do that.
I can't do that. I don't know. This is a really scary time. We're talking on the day where national security plans and war attacks are just tweeted out or posted on Signal. It's just in a group chat. People were accidentally in the group chat talking about war plans. So this is a terrifying time.
Yeah.
But couple of things. What I know is that the loudest voices in the room do not speak for a majority of us. Number one. So when you hear all of these horrible headlines and things, that is not a majority of people. A majority of Michiganders and Americans, I think, still fundamentally believe that people are good, that people just want to be left alone, and that we can all live together. This is a melting pot of a country, and that's a good thing. I still believe that. I've also seen that when people do stand up and push back, change is possible. The entire 2022 campaign cycle in Michigan from the Republican side tried to make demonizing marginalized communities the entire campaign platform, and they lost. Tudor Dixon, who ran for governor against Gretchen Whitmer, lost by something like 12 points. It wasn't even close. And I think that's because most people care about, can I afford to buy a house? And is my community safe? And do my kids have good teachers? Not who are we demonizing today? There's always been a scapegoat throughout history, and it's changed. And that's a moment that we're in now, but most people are still good. And if enough of us use our voices to say, you are going too far, then we can change things. And we have, we've seen glimmers of hope in a place like Michigan. And I think Michigan is indicative of the rest of the country.
I'm feeling like I just read your book this last week. So I'm feeling quite inspired because the whole last part of it isn't just like, and then everything's going to be fine or everything's screwy. It's just like, here's actual steps that you can take to participate in making your life better or to make yourself feel better, or to feel like you have some sort of power and control. I think you said find your voice, find your people, find your power, and hate won't win. So it's very inspiring. Thank you for writing the book. Thank you for the work you're doing for Michigan, but also the rest of America. What's next for you?
So the book's out now. I hope that people take it. Part of the idea that I had with the book is I don't have all the answers, and I know that we can't do it alone. We're going to need everybody to participate. So I hope people take it. I hope they use the workbook. I hope they try things out and they share with me what's working and what's not working, and that we learn from each other. And then I am exploring a run for U.S. Senate here in Michigan. So there will be an announcement.
So exciting.
An announcement soon.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited for you. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. Thank you so much for coming on. I have okay. While we have you, here's the fun part.
Yeah.
We've done the nitty gritty, and this is the easy stuff. I'm gonna ask you 5 quick questions. We're gonna play a Mad Lib, and then I'll turn you loose on the world to do the good work that you're doing. All right.
It's time for
5 quick questions. Okay. While we have you, here's the fun part. We've done the nitty gritty, and this is the easy stuff. I'm gonna ask you 5 quick questions. We're gonna play a Mad Lib, and then I'll turn you loose on the world to do the good work that you're doing. All right, 5 super quick questions with Mallory McMorrow. Number 1. Okay, what's a show you can watch over and over again, even though you've seen it 1,000 times?
Arrested Development.
Ooh, good answer. I'm not here to judge, but yeah, that's a great answer. What do you listen to when you want to feel happy?
Emo? That sounds counterintuitive.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, then what do you listen to when you want to feel sad?
Pop music? I'm like a very counter. My body juxtaposes whatever I'm listening to.
I mean, what do you listen to when you want to party? Yoga music. Okay.
My calm sort of raging.
You're celebrating. What do you put in your mouth?
Ice cream.
Oh, wow. Okay,
Always
good
ice
answer. Good answer. And question number 5, if you could choose them, what would you want your last words to be?
Barnacles.
Man, I hope
a lot
I'm
of
there that
SpongeBob.
day. I mean, I don't want to be there that day, but if I was, just for the sake of comedy, be like, oh, she did say barnacles.
Just yelling it
amazing.
on the way down.
Barnacles.
Barnacles. I don't know why. It was a recurring bit in SpongeBob that I always found hilarious.
Well, I didn't expect that. How wonderful. All right.
And now it's time for Rad Libs.
All right. I have written a Mad Lib. We call them Rad Libs around here because I don't want to get sued by Mad Lib. Anyway, I've written a story. I've left out some parts of speech. If you give me those parts of speech together, we're going to write a hilarious story. Are you ready to play?
I'm ready.
Okay. I need an adjective.
Lovely.
Oh my God. That's my wife's favorite adjective, but she always gives it as an adverb. And it always makes me mad because she's like, what's the adverb? I'm like, describes a verb, it ends in ly. She goes, lovely. I'm like, that's an adjective. Okay. A dwelling.
The Empire State Building?
Yes. People dwell there.
Yeah.
A noun.
Peanut butter.
Yep. You're better at this than most comedians. I'm going to have more politicians on this show. A verb ending in ing.
Planking.
Planking?
Yep. Remember that?
Okay. I remember the planking challenges.
Yep.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Yes. Excellent. While you're listening to emo. Okay. A verb.
Speaking.
Yep. A consequence.
Oh, death.
They really changed that sentence. Another adjective.
Would we consider pink an adjective?
Yeah.
Great.
It sure is. Yeah. Body part plural.
Thumbs.
Yep. 2 plural nouns in a row.
Cups. Pants.
What's the first one? Cups.
Cups.
Cups and pants.
Yep.
A food.
Stromboli.
Yep. An adverb.
Lovely.
No, lovely's not an adverb. Every time, just as angry. Oh, I can't wait to tell Mom what Mallory did.
Quickly.
Yes. A year.
1924.
What a great year for all of us. I guess it probably was. We were before the crash. We were living high. Yeah. It was a whoopee time.
It would probably be like now.
The bee's knees. Yeah. Oh. A famous person.
SpongeBob SquarePants.
Yes.
The theme here.
I think we're learning who your heroes are.
My daughter is 4. I just put that in here for context.
You know, we watch Bluey more often, and we have no children.
It's
but
an
we watch
incredible
Blue.
show. It's just
we watch it when we're sad, so now it's on all the time.
me just no spoilers, but I'm like, don't sell the house.
It's gonna be a rough year. They better get your shit together, Bluey. Got a lot going on. A relative.
Great aunt twice removed.
Great aunt twice removed. My God. Okay. An animal.
Python.
Yes. Adjective.
Fuzzy.
Yep. Body part.
A femur.
Yep. School subject.
Dog grooming. A woman yesterday told me that her son took a dog grooming class in high school.
That's good work though.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It's like you don't think about it,
You
but
see
dogs
those
will
poodles
always need
that
to
are
be
in like
groomed.
very fancy.
And some of the dogs that get the bangs that they can't
Oh
see.
yeah, big kids just down here.
Emo dogs.
Emo dogs. Emo dogs need haircuts while they're
do.
planking.
A plural noun.
Because I have a 4-year-old. Butts.
Butts. Oh, that's great.
She announced yesterday or a couple days ago. I come up to Mama's butt now. Like, yeah,
I bet she's adorable. I bet she's hilarious.
she's so funny.
I know you have a hilarious kid. Okay. An exclamation.
Yikes!
All right, we have a story, my friend. We have a story.
I'm ready.
This one is written specifically for you, and it's just called Campaign Slogans That Didn't Make the Cut. Okay.
Okay.
When Mallory McMorrow first decided to run for office, her campaign team gathered in a lovely Empire State Building with nothing but a dream and a peanut butter. Their goal? To brainstorm the perfect slogan, something that would have voters planking to the voting booth. Unfortunately, not every idea was a winner. Here are a few slogans that didn't make the cut. Number 1, McMorrow, fighting for your right to speak without death. It's pretty good.
I think that's pretty good.
Number 2, McMorrow, building a pink future, brought to you by someone with 2 working thumbs.
Also great.
You set off the fireworks in the screen. Who has 2 thumbs and wants a pink future? This gal. Well, number 3, because Michigan deserves more than just cups and broken pants.
It's true.
You're doing your best. Number 4, McMorrow, less talk, more Stromboli. I'm in. 5, quickly serving the public since 1924. Mallory McMorrow. 6, McMorrow, the only candidate endorsed by SpongeBob SquarePants' great aunt twice removed.
Nailed it.
What a brag.
The election's locked up.
Number 7, Mallory, your voice, your choice, your Python. I know that demographic. You can get them. 8, from the Great Lakes to your fuzzy femur, McMorrow cares. 9, let's put the common sense back in dog grooming.
We should.
We really should.
Can't see. Their hair is down here.
10, making laws, making change, making butts for Michigan. You should have gone with that one.
Just doing squats, you know?
After several hours, they finally came up with a winning idea. So posted on yard signs, flyers, and billboards was a picture of Mallory McMorrow and her election-winning slogan. Mallory McMorrow, she can, she will, yikes. Wow, you nailed it. Tell everyone where they can get a copy of your incredible book right now.
Hate Won't Win is available at your local bookstore. Please support your local bookstore and small business owners. Also at bookshop.com, where you can support local bookstores, or at Target, Walmart, Amazon, wherever you get books. Not Amazon.
Oh my gosh.
Support your local.
No, not Target either. We'll get it somewhere.
Get it somewhere.
It is what I like. I read it because I love you and I know you. I think I probably would have read it anyway. But it was worth absolutely every page. And like I said, it is an absolute page turner. You did such a wonder, because I know you wrote it.
I did.
It's from your perspective. Also, you did the audio on Audible.
Sure did.
And It's such a great book. I did listen to it as well. So anyway, I just wanted to cover all the bases. You're wonderful. And thank you so much for coming on today. It's so good to see you.
You too. Thanks, Kristen. Can't wait for my new slogans.
Interview complete. Reading Hate Won't Win by Mallory McMorrow. Beep boop. I'm done. That was great.
Oh, wow. Yeah, Computer Lady is a fast reader. Okay. Well, okay. Thank you so much, Mallory McMorrow, for coming on the Kristin Knows Blank podcast. Thank you for listening to the Kristin Knows Blank podcast. And right now, go. Stop what you're doing. Stop. Well, listen to this part and then go. But get the book Hate Won't Win by Mallory McMorrow. Find your power and leave this place better than we found it. Download it. It's on Audible. She reads it. It's a great read. I've read it both on my Kindle and I listened to it on Audible because I just wanted to hear what she sounded like if I sped her up to 2 times. And it was really fun. I highly recommend rapid speaking Mallory McMorrow. Anyway, get the book Hate Won't Win. You will not regret it. Keep listening to this podcast. Hi, I hope you've enjoyed this episode. I hope it has taken you out of whatever kind of day you were having. If you were having a good day, I hope it got better. If you're having a bad day, I hope it got brighter. Anyway, I will keep bringing you this podcast as often as I can. So if you like it, subscribe to it. Yeah, maybe leave a comment. Oh, yeah, tell us what you think. And yeah, when I can, as much as I can, I'm going to get great guests. They're going to be hilarious. We're going to have a good time, and I'm going to keep bringing them your way. So until next time, goodbye.
We're gonna talk to some people, gonna have a lot of fun. We're gonna talk to some people, gonna learn a lot of stuff. We're gonna talk to some people, gonna have a lot of fun. We're gonna talk to some people, gonna learn a lot of stuff. 'Cause Kristen